Greetings, everyone, and welcome. I hope that you are healthy, happy, and safe. And today we have a very special guest, Rollo from offthecorner.net. And today's subject, our focus is solutions to the coronavirus. So, without further ado,
Okay, so the topic today is coronavirus, and we hope to convey some information that's factual as well as propose possible solutions. Now, of course, it's no secret that there's a global pandemic that is sweeping through the world, and it's referred to as coronavirus or COVID-19. What I find to be interesting before we even get into the topic is the fact that the United States had a pandemic response team that was it's the Global Health Security and Biodefense Unit. It's responsible for pandemic preparedness, and it was established in 2015 by President Barack Obama. 2015 becomes an important year. Obama's National Security Advisor Susan Rice, she created it as part of the National Security Council, and so when the 45 administration came in, meaning Donald Trump's administration, he did away with the pandemic preparedness team. And then subsequent to that, we get a global pandemic. So I think it's important to question the timing when things happen a certain way. So I'm not advancing any abstract conspiracy theory, but I do question the timing on why they did away with the response team just before we have the very crisis that this team was in place to deal with. And so also I think it's interesting we talk about solutions. Cuba has a cure for the virus.
that's right.
It's called interferon alpha 2b, and Cuba has been sending doctors all over the world to help other countries to deal with the virus. And so I think it's interesting that they've gone to China, they've gone to South America, they've gone to all different countries all over the world. But I think it's interesting that the United States refuses to do business with Cuba because of an economic embargo that they have against Cuba. And so, although Cuba has a cure, the United States is permitting thousands of people to perish because of their petty difference with Cuba. And so there was a theory that was floated out on the internet. We don't know if it's internet chatter or not. I tried to do some research on it. Someone said there was a patent to the coronavirus. And so they say because there is a patent, then they connecting it to a conspiracy of some sort. So the other side pushed back and said, okay, well, there was a patent, but it wasn't for the novel coronavirus, which is what is out now, the global pandemic. They were saying it's for another coronavirus. Now, the patent number is 101307001B2. Now, in 2015, again, 2015, that year pops up. I just find that to be ironic. Not applying any meaning to that. I just think that's interesting. The Pre-Bright Institute filed a patent in relation to coronavirus. Now, they're alleging that it was not the coronavirus that we know of now, the global pandemic. There is a different strain of coronavirus that they filed for a patent for. Now, what I find to be interesting is the use of the word patent, because I like to give definitions. When you define words that you're using, the ideas that you're conveying become a lot clearer. This is an idea that I learned from Professor James Small. Shout out to him. You always want to define words. So patent is defined as a document granting the exclusive right to produce or sell an invention. I think the operative words there is produce and sell. So why would they need a patent to produce coronavirus? It's a question. It's rhetorical,
Right.
but it's something that makes you think. So I wanted to start out and set the stage by saying that there is a patent for viruses, evidently. And so the question becomes, why would you patent a virus? Why would you want the exclusive right to produce or sell a virus? So that's just, leads to more questions. But either way, I'm going to divert over to you so
Thank you
that you
for
can
the
continue.
information. Can you kindly repeat the patent number for those that seek to look it up on their own and kindly provide them with the website that you obtained the source from so they can look it up on their own? People mention that it's not for COVID-19, for that this specific coronavirus. However, it is for the coronavirus is in the same family as the current virus that we are facing, COVID-19. So they are in the same family. It kind of makes you wonder, like when you look it up, that there are actual people, and they show you the pictures of these people and the names of the people that went ahead to this patent office in 2015 and patent a virus. What kind of people would actually patent a virus when they know exactly what the virus is capable of doing? Can it be something like biological warfare? Because a virus is not here to hold hands with you and I, is here to attack. It is warfare. So I'm not saying that these people are doing it for that intent, because I'm not trying to speak on behalf of anyone, but I do want you to think, and I know that you're quite smart. Why would they patent a virus that will wipe out tons of people? This coronavirus that we speak about, the coronavirus itself, a few years ago, wiped out tons of people. And now this particular strand is in the same family, and they just attach another strand to the coronavirus, the HIV strand that was attached to coronavirus. What makes you think, they claiming it's coming from bats? I'm not saying that it is or is not, but once you attach the particular strand to that coronavirus of the HIV strand, that is not found in nature. They will have to purposely put it out in nature, and that's why they mentioned that now allegedly a tiger came out that has COVID-19. In nature, we never heard of such thing. It doesn't exist naturally in nature. This specific that we're speaking about, COVID-19, with that strand, does not exist naturally in nature. And if for you to find it in nature now, it has to be placed in nature, and they claiming that a tiger now allegedly has it. I don't know. I'm not with the tigers. How am I supposed to know?
Okay.
So, so also that so if you have any other words to
Well,
in regards to that.
the patent number again is 101-307-01B2. And that information is coming from Snopes, which is a fact check website. People may or may not be familiar with Snopes, but it is a fact check website. That information is coming from their website. So again, I'm not trying to convey any abstract conspiracy theories. I'm just giving you what Snopes, the fact check website, said, that a coronavirus was patented, and a patent was filed for a coronavirus. Not necessarily one we're dealing with now, but it was a coronavirus, which says that they do patent viruses, which is questionable in and of itself.
Yeah, it's questionable. Why would somebody, what intent did they have to patent a virus if they knew exactly how it works, how it functioned, and the purpose was never a good intent? And can you kindly also provide the website so they could look up the patent, so you could give them something to start, like the website exactly where they went to file this patent? And also keep in mind, as we provide information, you have to do your own research. We're giving you this information that we found, and sometimes what they do, they just kind of do the astroturf, which he's going to elaborate. And when we say, okay, we found this information, this without any doubt, it is a valid patent at the time that we looked it up at the website or office, the patent office that they actually went to make this patent for the virus in 2015 for the coronavirus. Okay, keep in mind the patent was clearly without a doubt for the coronavirus. Now, I'm not saying that it's for the strain of the coronavirus, that COVID-19 that we have today, but without a doubt, it is in the same corona family. So that's the reason why we're giving you the patent. Sometimes they tend to change the information, delete information, change the information, and said it was for pneumonia or things like that. But you could clearly, you smart, make the connection with anything that has to do with flu and pneumonia, that also you will see those same things in coronavirus and the COVID-19 as well, because it's all under the same respiratory, it's all under the same family, under the same umbrella. So if you could kindly specify the patent office, provide the patents office information.
Well, again, the information came from Snopes, which is a fact check website. It's not the patent office website per se,
Okay.
but a person could go to Snopes, SNOPES.com,
Okay, I
and
got it.
you could look that information up, or you could just search it online, and it would probably take you to Snopes anyway. But Snopes.com is where the information came from, that they did file for a patent in 2015 for a coronavirus. And again, a patent is a right to produce or sell something. So obviously, somebody's producing viruses or selling viruses. Either way, that's questionable behavior.
And that ties up to money. That seems to me when people patent something as a business owner, you're trying to protect your business or your creation, your invention, what you made, so that other people don't steal your ideas or take your ideas and make a profit or money off your ideas. So this is absolutely tied to money. At the end of the day, that's what, otherwise why would you patent your ideas? So it has something to do with money. But I remember that we came across the, what is this,
Oh, Pre-Bright
yes,
Institute.
that's what
Pre-Bright
I,
Institute is a corporation that filed for the patent in
yes.
2015. So that's also important to note if you're going to do some research. If you're going to go online and search, you want to search Pre-Bright Institute, because this was the institute that filed for the patent to produce or sell the coronavirus.
Okay, so if you could kindly spell it out just for them, and then we move on from that, and I'll allow you to just, people please look it up, and you could go ahead and provide them with the
So
spelling,
Pre-Bright
please.
is PRIBRIGHT, Pre-Bright Institute. If you search Pre-Bright Institute and coronavirus, I'm sure you'll find a whole wealth of information.
Or you should find, and as of today, it has been there. So if anything changes, like I mentioned, because they tend to, once people find information, sometimes they tend to change certain things or make certain things disappear or make it seem like it's something innocent. So we could go ahead and speak about astroturf, because that's important. That's something that a lot of people may or may not be familiar with. And I think that's very important and is absolutely related to you personally.
Okay, so astroturf is an expression that's used primarily for movements. And so you see years ago, you saw Occupy Wall Street movement or Tea Party movement or Black Lives Matter movement or ADOS movement or whomever movement. You see these movements, they always seem to just come and go. They're referred to as astroturf. Now, we know astroturf is basically the artificial grass that they play football on, soccer, whatever the case might be. And so a grassroots organization, something like the original Black Panther Party, something like the UNIA, is considered grassroots because it's from the bottom up. AstroTurf is from the top down because it's not real. So it's something that's created by either individuals that are in the 1% or agents for the 1%. And it's created to make the general public at large think that there's widespread support for an idea that there's really not widespread support for. So AstroTurf is basically propaganda, and AstroTurf is also an attempt to spread false information. So that's basically loosely how you would define the expression AstroTurf.
Okay.
It's related to movements and these organizations and these groups that just seem to come and go.
Thank you for sharing that information. So it's mainly the goal to distract you and to misguide you, mislead you, and provide you with false information so that you actually don't stand up and demand what's right to be given to you or to a group of people. So, can you give us an example of an astroturf, if you may?
AstroTurf, I would say something like an ADOS is AstroTurf. ADOS is American Descendants of Slaves. And they're pushing a narrative that says we deserve reparation, which I don't argue with.
Right.
But the message that undergirds what they're saying is the fact that only black people born in the territory of the United States deserve reparation, and anyone else, whether you're from the continent of Africa or from the Caribbean, you're not entitled to a reparation according to how they would define, who's supposed to get reparations. So, for example, someone like Marcus Garvey, who was born in Jamaica,
Right.
he wouldn't make the team. Someone like
Right.
Malcolm X, whose mother was from Grenada, he wouldn't make the team. Someone like Minister Farrakhan, your opinion on him could be whatever it is, but his family's from Trinidad. He wouldn't make the team. Or Kwame Ture, also known as Stokely Carmichael, he's from Trinidad, so he wouldn't make the team, according to how they would define an American descendant of slaves. So it looks to me like it's a divisive, divide and conquer scheme
Right.
to divide people of African heritage wherever you may be in the world, saying that you're separate and apart from these other people. And I think that's a huge mistake, in my opinion, because there are 100 plus million black people in Africa, 50 million possibly in America. If we could organize with them socially, politically, and economically, and we can cooperate with each other, then we would be a lot stronger as a group. Strength in numbers. We're stronger together than we will ever be separated. So this seems to be an AstroTurf movement because it's divisive. It's trying to divide us as opposed to trying to unite us. So I would use that as an example of a movement that's AstroTurf. I would say also Tea Party. Tea Party is a movement that kind of came and went with the breeze. Another AstroTurf movement. Black Lives Matter, in my humble determination, would be what I would consider an AstroTurf movement. And they're all but done now. You're not even hearing about them anymore. And I would say the minute Fox News and CNN and MSNBC is talking about a group, then it's probably not the real deal.
And also, you gotta, in particular with the Black Lives Matter, you gotta keep in mind who's funding it, because you gotta follow the money. So, who funded the Black Lives Matter?
Black Lives Matter was funded by George Soros, who was Hungarian. And so, revolutionary black grassroots movements don't get funding from the white donors. So there's something wrong with
Right.
that equation right there. I
Right.
saw on a clip of Fox News where Ann Coulter, who's a white supremacist, she gets on Fox News and says she supports ADOS in their attempt to get reparation. Why would a white supremacist get on Fox News saying that she supports ADOS in their attempt to get reparations?
Right.
That doesn't add up for me. So I would point to those as examples of AstroTurf.
Thank you for the good examples of AstroTurf. I think that's important for people to be aware. I did make a video and put the information out so that you could start thinking. And because a lot of times most of us feel we know within our minds and our hearts what's right and wrong as adults, and sometimes it seems like we get an overwhelming response against what's right and natural, and it's really, that's not a coincidence, and that is fabricated, that is made, and it's intentionally to confuse you, distract you, and keep you away from what, for you to do better. Basically, it's just a distraction. So it appears as if it's more people for the cause, and it's really like it's a plan. It's not true. Isn't it? I don't want to use the word agenda. It's just simply made up, like a movie. So that way you don't really stand up for what's right, because you feel all of these people have accepted this, all these people like this, then it must be right. No, you smart, you know right from wrong as an adult, and you have to stick to it. And yes, so we're going to move on because I don't want to get off the subject. So let's get back to the coronavirus. Thank you so much for sharing the information about the coronavirus and COVID-19, how COVID-19 is in the same family as the coronavirus, and the patent number, and how Cuba has a cure for the coronavirus that we're facing with. Also, I heard that in Senegal, they also have a syrup that they send over to China that is effective towards working towards the coronavirus, towards healing rather the coronavirus. So Cuba is important because they have a cure but also Senegal has a cure, and I'm sure other places have a cure, but nature itself always has a cure. We have the principle of duality. We have the things that are medicinal that will heal you and help you to be the best you that you could possibly be. And then we have the things that could poison you and kill you. You have to be able to distinguish which one would do that for you. And I think a lot of us, we were supposed to, like healers, we were supposed to be trained, and people were supposed to pass on that information to us so that we know what plans are effective for what and what plans to avoid. And if we come across those plans, how to go ahead and use the proper plans to bring you back to health scope. So going back to this particular virus, COVID-19, now that the world as we know it will never be the same. The world we knew about a month ago, that is gone. So if you see me looking down, I'm pretty much have like little notes everywhere. So I apologize because I don't want to miss anything. So if you see me looking down, I'm reading because I don't want to miss anything. So the world, unfortunately, would not return to the way it used to be prior to COVID-19. It is it is like we're having a 9/11 effect taking place as we speak. So for those of you that experienced 9/11, if you were here during 9/11, you know how you felt like shot, like anxiety, scare. You're like, what's going on? So those are some of the feelings that we have now. Some of us are still wondering what happened. Is this a bad dream? Hoping that we can wake up from this and that the world will be what it was before, like what we knew it to be. We just want things to go back the way that things were prior to this COVID-19. But I think that I keep dropping my notes.
We actually want things to go back to Muahhh, go back
we
before,
Thank you. Yes.
before.
Yeah. To the time that we were thriving. We want Ma'at. So this world is merging. What you are doing right now is helping and influencing to create our new reality. So we are merging into a new reality. It could either be bad, worse than what it was bad. It was already bad in the first place. Or it could be better. I want us to focus on becoming the best that we could possibly be. Be the better version of yourself. Because what you're doing right now as we speak is influencing and creating. We are constantly influencing each other and creating this new reality that we are going to experience, that we're experiencing now and we will experience in the future. Our now creates our future. So be the best that you could possibly be. So now some of you may have some extra time and you could spend some time doing the things that you love to do that you would not have had time. You would not had the time if this did not happen. Some of you get to spend time with your family, reacquaint yourselves with your spouse, spend more time with the children, pick up a hobby, or start a business or grow a business. And you're saying, well, how can you grow a business when the economy is the way it is? People still need things. People still go to the store to buy those things. So if we buy things from each other instead of buying from a corporation, from a large corporation that already has like tons of money, then we will circulate our dollars amongst ourselves and help our families, our community. We will help each other as a people. We will be able, and then if that were already in place, we would not have to worry about this because we will have our own natural doctors that know how to take care of this, like Cuba or Senegal. We will have our own school system, so we will not have to worry about the school closing. We will have our own job, our own income, so we would not have to worry about now those people that cannot go to work because they're not an essential service. So if you're an essential service, you're required to go to work, and you get a letter saying you're an essential service. In case the police stops you, you have this letter so that you could go ahead and go to work. If you're not an essential service, you may be either working from home or not working at all. Then you have to file for unemployment. Not everybody qualifies for unemployment. Unemployment may not be the same money that you're getting when you go to work, and unemployment eventually runs out, and there's all these rules that go with this unemployment situation. So this virus is absolutely attached to money. Everywhere you see it, money. Loss of jobs, money. Corporations making quick tons of money because medicines, right? The pharmaceutical company has reported they were making a ridiculous amount of money prior to this, but now they increased. They're even making more. All of this is not for you to be sad or scared, because fear is it's the lowest frequency. The highest frequency is love. So when you focus on love, that heals your body, that heals your mind, your energy, your organs, and you vibrate at a more comfortable frequency or state, so that your mind could be clear and you could think logically. When you are in fear, you suppress your immune system. You actually weaken your immune system, and now all of this fear is now making you more susceptible. Sorry, I got an accent. Go ahead.
Susceptible.
I can't say it today. Okay, is making you now more vulnerable to all of these viruses and bacteria like COVID-19. So please, fear is not an option. So focus on higher pursuit and bettering yourself so that you could be the best you for yourself, your family, your children, or whoever you love, or for this earth, okay? Because everything is connected. So focus on being the better you. Know that no matter how bad this is, we will get through this. But the world that we had back then, it's not even good enough. We need to make it better. We actually need Ma'at, like Ralo mentioned. Can you tell us what Ma'at is?
Well, there's no one simplistic way to explain what ma'at is. Ma'at, in short, is balance, you could say. Some people would say it's righteousness, it's order, it's
Justice, natural
propriety.
law, steadfast.
Right.
So it's truth, balance, justice,
Harmony.
harmony, natural law, reciprocity. So we really need that's when we thrive, like I mentioned, when we were living under Ma'at. So they always make it seem like black African people were savages, and in reality, that has been proven not to be the case at all. I find whenever they say something, it's actually them. Like most fingers are pointing to the right person. It's pointing to them. When they point their finger at you, all the other fingers are pointing at them. It's actually them. So when they say you were savage, uh, they were actually the savage in history. But I don't want to focus on that. Let's get back to the solutions. So for those of you that may or may not know, because I'm very humble, I'm very quiet, I just usually don't speak unless I have an answer to a problem, or I'm spoken to, or I feel that I need to convey information. So in case you don't know, I do a lot of things, and I'm a soap maker. And what does soap making, and I'm the child of a chemist, and I'm a teacher, I'm a healer, amongst other things that I love to do that are naturally within me, that I like to share those gifts to help others to be the best that they could possibly be. We focusing on the soap. I'm a soap maker. And the reason this ties into COVID-19 is because the soap actually deactivates the virus. And I know what you're thinking. I thought the same thing as a soap maker. Wait a minute, how can a soap deactivate a virus that is allegedly, or is, I'm not saying that it's not, because it clearly has, but I say allegedly because I'm not presently physically present to every case and every claim that's on the news. So that's the reason why I say allegedly. Please know that this is real, and there has been people that have been really sick, exposed to it, really sick, or even some that have died. And it does, if you, there's been rumors saying that if you're black, African American, African, or just a person of color, that it doesn't affect you. Let me tell you, that's false. Think about it. With somebody that do not like you and think that they are better than you think that they're going to create a virus that bypasses you, the person that the type of people that they do not like? I don't think so. So the virus does not discriminate. It does not appear to discriminate against any ethnicity. That means anyone could get the virus. But how do you get the virus? It's the story that I'm interested in, because soap actually could deactivate, as I mentioned, could deactivate the virus. So, I was wondering, how is something a virus is not alive. So how is something that is not even alive has changed our world forever? This thing, viruses are not alive. So if viruses are not alive, how in the world are we supposed to kill a virus if it's not alive? What can we use? Antibiotics are not going to work, because antibiotics do not work on viruses. Antibiotics do not work on viruses. They work on bacteria. And viruses are not alive. So how are we supposed to kill it? And this is where I'm bringing up soap. And you constantly hear soap and water helps you to keep the virus at bay, to make sure that you don't get the virus. Well, okay, this is how it works. But first, let's see. So, but first I want to mention that viruses such as COVID-19 does not meet the biological definition of life. You cannot kill what is not alive, as I mentioned. What we need to do is deactivate it, as I previously mentioned. So let's go into it. Okay, so think of it this way, if you would. Think of it as information, right? So think of this virus as information. Just visualize, work with me. Viruses such as COVID-19 is simply genetic information. Simply genetic information. It contains RNA or DNA. You have DNA, right? So the virus could contain RNA or DNA. This particular virus, COVID-19, has RNA. So just something for you to keep in mind, because the RNA or DNA wraps in lipid protein shells that protects it. So the RNA of the COVID-19